Thank you for staying with us. The federal government has declared all its 256 correctional centers across the country as red zones ahead of the planned nationwide protest happening today. In a statement by the Controller General of the Nigeria Correctional Service, Haliru Nababa, any person or group who has no business at the prisons should stay away. He added that attacking the correctional centers may lead to the breakdown of law and order and may exacerbate insecurity in the country, and adequate security arrangements have been put in place to ensure that no correctional facility is attacked. Well, joining us via Zoom is security expert Dixon Osaje. Good morning, Dixon. Thank you for joining us on the program. Dixon, are you there? Can you hear me? Dixon?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us. Now, the major concern with regards to this protest has been security matters, ensuring that it is not hijacked in any way. And now the government has said that protesters should stay away from correctional centers. And if you even look at the papers this morning, the matters of security is also dominating, especially the front page of the Daily Trust. Talk to us what your concerns are with regards to this protest. Especially now that the government is raising concerns with regards to the correctional centers.
Oh, thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
You see, it's very important to understand that we have a country, and the country is Nigeria, and Nigeria belongs to us all. You know, we all have our own various grievances. We all have our own various worries. We're all also bothered about the going rates of insecurity in Nigeria. The multi-dimensional security threats, the economic situation, and also some, worrying state of national security. So, Nigerians have decided to come out protest today. I don't know if that's going to still hold or if it's holding right as we speak. But I think I agree with the correctional center's broadcast that the correctional facilities in no zone area, because if they don't say so, I think what's happened during the NSAS and other previous time might happen, because we saw a lot of prison break, taking out prisoners, those who are convicted for criminal activities, and bringing them back to the society, which is also another security threat. You understand? So for us, I think if we must have to protest, we must do it lawfully, because for the truth, protest is the constitutional right of every Nigerian. And if you want to protest, you don't have to, inconvenience any other persons. But some people have argued that anywhere in the world you carry out protests, some people will be inconvenienced. Well, I agree, but the intention of that protest should not be an intent to, inconvenience the Nigerian people. If there's going to be a protest, let us, protest and also pass our message to the government. Because when we talk about protest, we shouldn't see protest as a war zone. We shouldn't see protest as a state of anarchy. We should see protest, peaceful protest, quote unquote, as a feedback to the government, letting them understand that we are not happy, or the people are not happy with the way things are going. Just for example, during the 2023 elections, we saw a lot of people being gathered in some facilities, stadiums. The government, our political leaders were, seeking for their votes. So right now, the Nigerian people want to gather, and tell the government, hey, this was going on wrong, and we need to be corrected. And that should be a clear message. But let me sound this note of advisory that this should not be a thing whereby those who lose out in the last political election or presidential election want to get back to the government. I don't want to see maybe the previous presidential aspirants, trying to take side in this protest. If you do that, then clearly it's going to be politically motivated, and that will be a no.
And, there has been that claim recently. I think that was the Senate president who mentioned that election losers may be taking advantage of this situation to cause mayhem. But another concern is, some persons taking advantage of this situation. and also, you know, the respect for human rights on the part of security operatives. So for those who are going out today, especially to protest, let's talk about how their rights can be, you know, protected, especially on the side of the security agents.
A fantastic question. You know, the primary purpose of governance is the protection of lives and property. But now, my worry is this. I've seen a lot of messages coming out from the police headquarters, the military headquarters, and other headquarters, you know, forecasting a state of anarchy. We should not be so quick to forecast an incident that's not even started, or the protest that has not been started. But I agree with their advisory. Do not put Nigeria on fire. But now the question we need to start asking ourselves is this very clearly: why are we coming out to protest? Why is the people of Nigeria coming out to protest? And that is why our political leaders need to go back to the drawing board and, you know, analyze the situation of the Nigerian state and ensure that they lead us right politically. They lead us right in the area of leadership, because I must tell you the truth, and that is the gospel truth. Nigerians have been brutalized for so long, you know, politically brutalized. Leadership-wise, we have been brutalized. You know, if you want to check statistics and look at the state of corruption, for example, you can visit the EFCC headquarters and let them give us statistics of those previous leaders that have been, you know, convicted or prosecuted for embezzling state and national funds. But let's leave that aside. What we should be looking at is, how do we move our dear country, Nigeria, forward? How do we restore this great country from this leadership brutality? How do we ensure our youth, you know, are engaged? Because as it is, we suffer from leadership brutality, economic brutality, social brutality, and things are, you know, on the high rise. You know, some few days ago, I went to the filling station to fill up my tank, and it just ring on my head that some time last year, I usually fill this car with 12,000 naira. Now 48 to 50,000 naira. It's disturbing. It's affecting every one of us. But the right way to go is not to fight the government or, you know, put this country in a state of anarchy. It's for us to communicate to the government. And let me advise the government, please listen to the plight of the people. This is an opportunity for the president and the government of Nigeria to listen to the plight of people if this protest is being carried out peacefully and nothing more than that.
All right. Dixon, let's quickly ask you to hold your thought for a minute. We have another guest joining us from Benin, public affairs commentator and lawyer, Obajide Ilugbo. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the program. Obajide? Obajide, if you can hear me, the matter of security is also a major concern with regards to this protest. And like we have been speaking with Dixon, what the government can do to really ensure the safety of lives and property as this protest happens, as it happens. But we hear that we have to come back to you now, Dixon. So the issue with regards to the correctional centers, have we learned our lessons from 2020? That'll be the question right now. We saw what happened, how protesters had their way into this correctional facilities. But now what can be done to really ensure that these correctional facilities are safe and can't be invaded at the end of the day, since we are talking about protection and ensuring that there's no breakdown of law and order on the long run?
Excellent question. You see, we need to also know that any given facility or any government infrastructure that houses some group of criminals must be well protected. You know, for you to get access into government facility like the correctional facility so swiftly tells you that the correctional facility themselves in their own area, are not doing the right thing. Before you get into the correctional facilities, there should be a stages of perimeter protection. We call it target hardening or layer of protection, because the whole essence of crime prevention is to ensure that criminals labor in vain. Now, for you to go into a correctional facility, before you get to the fence, before you get to the gate, what is the barrier in place? Penetrating the gates before you go in, what is the next barrier? What is the third barrier? What is the fourth barrier before you get to the these inmates? So the correctional facility should carry out an assessment of all. Let me not say they should be doing that now. They should have done that after the NSAS protest. Carry out an assessment of their facility and ensure they build in, a very strong infrastructure that is not penetrable by some protesters or any criminal elements that wants to invade such correctional facilities. So the duty lies in the auspice of the correctional facilities, leaders to ensure that these properties are not easily accessible. If these properties are not easily accessible, then I don't think they should be worried during this period of protest, because target hardening is very essential so that criminals don't go swiftly into those targets. So
I'll need for you to expatiate on what you mean by easily accessible. Are you saying that the state of our correctional centers as we speak is somewhat easily accessible?
Yes. And that is the truth. It's easily accessible. For example, now where I stay, before you get into my estate, for example, you need to pass through the gate. That is stage 1 protection strategy. Then after passing, you need to give a call, pass through the gate, then get to my house, pass through my door, pass through my room, then meet me up. So those stages you need to put in place so that even if criminals want to break in, before they get to stage 2 of your perimeter protection or of your protection strategy, the security agent must have reinforced. So crime prevention is systematic. Don't give this criminal an opportunity to strike, because for a crime to take place, 3 factors are responsible. That's why we look at the crime triangle. You need to look at the opportunity, criminal opportunity, and also the object. Then you talk about the motivated offender. So the essence of crime prevention is for the security agent to cut off the criminal opportunity in any given situation. Once you can cut off criminal opportunity, I don't think criminal will find access swiftly into your facility. So the Nigerian correctional facilities, I can tell you 100%, and I can bet it, is easily accessible. Not all facilities, many are accessible. Look at how they penetrated the Kuje prison in Abuja. Look at how they penetrated the prison in Edo State and other prisons within the country. That tells you that it's easily accessible. So they should tighten up the prison facilities. And also, I will advise the government to start looking at rebuilding our prison facilities, to go in line with the 21st century protection strategy.
And in a letter submitted by the Minister of Justice for Lagos to the court before the order was given to restrict these protesters, he also mentioned the fact that Lagos State itself does not have sufficient manpower to provide security support for the protesters who plan to protest. So I'm wondering, how much more security do we really have in our prisons?
Well, for me, I don't think we should be coming with some deceptive strategies or whatever the case may be. Yesterday, I was coming to the mainland and I saw a lot of high-profile personality and some high-profile personality moving around with escorts and making a lot of noise with the siren that is meant to be used in an ambulance. So they shouldn't be telling us that they don't have enough security to protect the protesters. This is a time for them to also come out and also support these protesters, peaceful protesters, quote unquote. Because I think sometimes most of our people here in this country don't understand. When you talk about protest, you just think protest is violent in nature. But we have what we call the good and bad protest by descriptive analysis. But sometimes protests can go wrong if not well managed by security agents. And if protest is well managed by security agents, I think we will not be having a repeat of what transpired in 2020. So for me, I strongly advise, the Lagos State government, if need be, to ensure, scrape most of the security agents, maybe some from other facilities, and put them together to go give these protesters a coverage. But let me tell you the truth. If you don't allow them to protest today, I tell you, they will protest next time. And that is why we need to let them cry, Let the people cry. Listen to their cry. When you are coming to lead us, they listen to you. So listen to their cry, the peaceful protesters, so that you'll be able to use that as an avenue or as a form of feedback, in order to govern the people. If you don't do that and you want to frustrate this protest, a child whom you stop crying or you close his mouth from crying, at a few seconds you bring out your hand, he will burst out to cry again. So these people must be let to cry and let them cry their cry.
Well, the government has said that they are allowed to cry their cry, but that they must do that within the ambit of the law. That's basically what the government is saying. But let's move over now to Obajide Ilugbo. I believe you can hear me now. The question is, how can the police ensure that they work closely with these protesters, ensuring that it is peaceful and that we do not see a semblance of a breakdown of law and order like we saw in 2020, where we saw that some of these correctional centers were similarly invaded? Obajide, are you there? All right, let me come back to you now, Dixon. If you look at the papers this morning, a particular one was saying that the Commissioner of Police was saying that they'll support Edo protesters with sachet water and sweets. I smiled when I saw that statement coming from the Commissioner of Police, just basically saying that they are going to be there for the protesters. But when you look at the backdrop of how the security agencies, talking about the police and the people, have been relating the relationship, there are concerns, really. And the question comes back to you now, yes, Dixon. Can this protest, how can the police ensure that this protest is peaceful and that there is no breakdown of law and order? Obajide, can you hear me now?
The people.
I can hear you.
Well, I asked the question earlier, which has to do with the relationship between the police and the people. Some would describe it as being a rancorous one over time, especially after the fallout of the 2020 protest, and that although the police have been trying to build on that, but it seems not much has been achieved. Now we have another protest on our hands. How can the police ensure that this protest is as peaceful as possible, such that we do not get a situation where some persons hijack the protest and go about attacking correctional centers?
Well, good morning, everybody. The situation concerning the protest and the perception of the protesters of the police, I dare say not only of the police, but of the government, is part of the reason why the protest itself is starting, and also part of the reason why the government is bothered. So, to look at it holistically, there is very, very low confidence of the Nigerian public towards government and its agencies. You remember what led to the NSAS. It was just about an agency of government and their conduct and the way they were handling and the way they were dealing with people that frustrated the society and that led to that very, very regrettable incident. The aftermath of it is still there. So my opinion, in the light of what we have in our hand now, is that the police, the government, should calm down. Utterances at this juncture has to be structured. The right people should speak. Not anybody should speak. And what they will say should be important. Now, going to the protest, the Public Order Act of 1979 gives the governors the power to regulate protest and to put it within perspective, and to also determine what they wear and the route they follow, and to protect the protesters, meaning the process of protesting is that you do application to the government. Because even though you say you are protesting against federal government is subdivided into states. And even if you campaign in the air, you are campaigning within the airspace of a state. So the state governor is the man in charge. You have to apply to him, and he is to provide protection for you. Now, coming to this particular protest, the concern for majority is not about this protest. The concern is the insistence that they want to walk the street. See, when Tinubu, Falana, Wole Soyinka, and all the leaders of that time converged at Ojota against President Goodluck Jonathan regime, that is a model of a protest. And I believe that if the organizers of this protest will really come to terms with the fact that the question of hunger is what we want to deal with, then we don't need to roam the street. Let's go to a place. Let us, so that the world press can come to you. You say you want to do it in every local government. How many reporters will Al Jazeera send to Nigeria? How many reporters will CNN send to Nigeria? If we have one place, strategic places, very few places, like the state government have done, and you say, come here, then every media can come. You will get attention. You will get mileage. The government will feel your pulse. They will feel the impact of your campaign. That was what the Tinubu-led opposition did that time to President Goodluck Jonathan's regime. And what happened? It was so loud, the deaf could hear. It was so clear, the blind could see. The president had to reverse the decision. And also, this protest, by now, it is only a few days ago now that they are beginning to articulate what the points are. Well, everybody got lost on what were they looking for. But thank God now a learned council has stepped in, and now we are beginning to have this thing. Even though we don't know the organizer, I mean, they have a legal representative. Right. Awesome. Now let us articulate the points. And let me say, as I've said in some fora, this protest should be a stint protest, a warning protest. Everybody is hungry. The organizers should do everything to carry everybody along, all right, such that they will share. See, they will not look like dissident. They will not look like anarchist. Everybody's hungry. I'm hungry. I don't know about other people. I'm hungry. I can't fuel my car anyhow like I used to do before. I have to think 3 times whether I should take the car or take the train, or whether, I mean, look, Abuja to Benin now, I mean, Abuja to Lagos, Abuja to 200,000 naira flight. Even the rich are hungry. So everybody, it's not those people protesting.
Right. Abajide, can you hear me? Right.
Yes, I can hear you.
Your point has been stated clearly. But the question I asked earlier is how the police can manage the situation in such a way. You spoke about perception earlier. So how can they manage it in such a way that the people, the protesters, will repose confidence in them, in their ability to protect them as they protest? Recall that just yesterday or some days ago, some states, we could see a show of force by the security agencies, all to show that they are here to protect the people. But how much of that message is really getting across to the people such that they believe that the police indeed is here with them, is their friend, and ready to protect them?
See, when it comes to public perception at the critical position of action like this, communication has to be systematic and has to be progressive, has to be continuous. So it is for the police to continue to make speeches addressing them, as the IG has been doing, like every day, like every morning, afternoon, evening. And the officers that we go to that places should be properly groomed and trained. Men who have resilience, not just anybody. This is not the time for trigger happy. This is not the time for insurgent tackling trained force. This is the time where you bring your men who themselves have deeper understanding to go out, because police themselves can be provoked. Somebody from the crowd can go and do something. you know, the capacity of the men is also very important. So while police continue to ensure, to promise that there will be peace, that they are there to protect them, they should walk the talk. The police that will go there should walk the talk. The IG, the commissioner of police, the area commander, that we assign people to those places, they should give them proper briefing. And they should also read the Riot Act to the policemen, that if you do ABC, just know that this world, we are in the world of social media. If I get evidence of you, you know, being doing the wrong thing, and we have seen policemen being disciplined.
Your point has been noted. Your point has been noted. We'll come back to you. Well, very quickly, let's hear Dixon's opinion. Dixon, I would like you to react to what he said about the use of strategic points to lay their claim. That's talking about the protesters. In this situation, we've seen, you know, divergent view, and some persons really do not even want to go out to protest. And if we're really looking at the issue of hunger, so many persons may not be able to wait for as long as 10 days as planned by these protesters. So talk to us about how effective the use of strategic places, as you know, ordered by the court, to really help the law enforcement in managing this situation.
Well, I think I appreciate the judiciary for stepping in this time around, because, you know, we are law-abiding citizens, and we must also respect the law. And if the people wants the government to respect their wish, then they should respect the wish of the court. The court has designated 1 or 2 points where this protest will be held. And I think that's going to be a very good point for police protection strategy, because the police will not be overstretched if these designated points are being used by the would-be protesters, you know, giving the protesters, you know, coverage, you know, so that they are not being armed. Because the truth is, if you are carrying out protests against any city government, in any part of the world, there is always an anti-protesters, or those who go against your own wish to protest against the government. So this designated area must be highly protected, must be combed, and the police should give them 360-degree protection, because that is what they sworn an affidavit to do for the Nigerian state. I think that would be nice. Then on the area of use of force, I think they should also be very careful about the area of use of force, because when we talk about use of force, we have 5 stages of use of force. Now, for you to project the Nigerian police or the security agent in this designated area is classified as use of force stage 1. Then should peradventure maybe this protest is going out of hand, then you can apply use of force stage 2. Warning, warn them, hey, don't do this. Use of force stage 3, then you can apply minimum force, you know, to control these guys. Use of force stage 4, you apply maximum force. Then the last stage, which is use of force, stage 5, is the you know, last resort in the use of force, which is so sad that most times our security agents apply the last stage, stage 5, use of force, as first stage. So stage 5 use of force is the later force. We call it the later use of force, whereby you engage arms. That is in a condition whereby the security agents themselves, their life is at risk, or the risk of someone or any other person is at risk. That is when you apply the use of force, stage 5. But the police should be very cautious in the area of use of force, because this escalated the NSAS protest that resulted in the burning of some government facilities. Then also in the area of crowd formation, I think before you project any security officers in any given area of protection, you must train them on crowd protection or crowd formation protection. Because I will give me time to highlight the 5 you know, crowd formation process. You must be able to identify if this crowd are hostile crowd. You must be able to identify as a police officer if this crowd are acquisitive crowd, or those who gathered to get 1 or 2 things. You must be able to identify if they are protest crowd or escapist crowd, or if they are peaceful crowd. So the ability for a police officer to identify the types of crowd formation will assist them to project reasonable security force in management of such of any incident. If peradventure spectative crowd, like those who gather to watch football as well, football match can go wrong, and that is why in any given crowd formation, the security agent must be prepared, because if a football match, spectative crowd can go wrong, fight burst out in the stadium, then fight can burst out even in a protest zone. That is why the Nigerian police must be protected, must be prepared. And I also appreciate our security agents, you know, they are also going through the pain as well. Let's also understand that. They also going through the hardship. So I think we need to also appreciate them. for putting their lives on the line to protecting the Nigerian state.
Right. Gentlemen, we must thank you for your time on the program. Security expert Dixon Osaje, as well as public affairs commentator and lawyer Obajide Lugbo for your time on the program. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.